Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
So when the news came out a couple weeks ago, because of course we missed last week, I went to the federal courthouse in Delaware because I thought that there was going to be, there was going to be a rally. I was ready to kick in. I was ready to kick in some windows, to kick in some doors, to fight for our dear leader. How dare they do this to him? I can't believe it. This is so unfair. How dare the criminal justice system and a jury of his peers? A jury. Truly, how can you find a jury of Hunter Biden's peers? One might even say that he is peerless. So how can he be judged by mere men?
He shouldn't be.
In a court of law. I just don't understand it. But like I said, I went to the courthouse. I was ready to storm the hallways of the federal courthouse in Delaware. But weirdly, Jay, there was nobody else there, and I don't know why. I don't know why there was no one else there to protest this grave injustice that's been done to one might say America's favorite son.
America's son, if you will.
Yeah.
Truly is America's son. Look, nobody represents America's son more than a former crack addict, prostitute, fucking rich boy like Hunter Biden. Look, I am sad. I'm disgusted by this. Obviously, I was so angry. We took a week off. I had to leave town.
That's right.
I was like,
you were so depressed. You were inconsolable at the guilty verdict.
Yeah. Look, in all seriousness, Hunter Biden found guilty, convicted on all 3 felonies for his federal gun trial. No one cares. No one gives a shit at all. It's fine. Look, I will say this before we get into sort of more of this, because the right's response to this is just hilarious and weird.
No, it's completely on brand. I mean, like
it's
I said,
on brand, exactly.
If there's a goalpost to move, you can be sure they're going to move them clear across the field. So.
Absolutely. As Terrence said to me about something else completely unrelated, they packed up their goalposts, put them in a Learjet, and left fucking town. That's exactly what happened here. But here's what I will say. I'm going to give the right a little bit of credit on something. This is politically motivated, right? I think we can all agree it's politically motivated. And I think the right would say, I think they would largely probably say it is, right? Even though they think that the conviction should have happened, I think they would say, yeah, it's politically motivated. The Biden crime family or whatever, right? And so I do agree it is politically motivated. But here's the thing. I'm fine with that because he did a crime. It's fine, right? Like, it is politically motivated, and that's why they were like, we're going to go after Biden, and we're going to go after Hunter Biden, and they're using their hate for his father as an avenue to go after him. It's clear, right? Nobody gives a shit that this guy was doing drugs.
To underline the point even more, so there was a clip going around in the days before the verdict was announced from Fox News of Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy famously, the committee chair of the oversight committee during the Benghazi investigations, and the chief number one fucking guy trying to nail down Hillary Clinton. That's how much of a fucking Republican Trey Gowdy is. Trey Gowdy also a terrible haircut, as we know. Trey Gowdy,
several terrible haircuts. I don't know.
Yeah, several terrible haircuts.
I don't know what hairdresser you pissed off with your like Republican anti-gay legislation, but they were like, nah, I love you, keep coming in, and they just made him look like a fucking idiot every single time. That was their payback.
But Trey Gowdy is also a former federal prosecutor, and he said on Fox News that he knows that this is absolutely a politically motivated prosecution because in all of his years as a federal prosecutor, he could not remember a single instance not just of him bringing the charge that was levied against Hunter Biden, but prosecuting any U.S. attorney prosecuting anyone for lying on, a federal form because they were under the influence of drugs.
Yeah, he's not a thing.
He's like, this does, like, yes, it's a law. It does not get charged. It never gets charged.
Because who gives a fuck, dude? Like, look, if you're a gun person, right, and you're like, no, this makes sense. I support this. Hunter Biden getting busted. You guys never smoke weed. You never smoked weed before? Like, come on, man. Like, don't do that, right? So here's my thing. I don't think you should be busted for smoking weed. I don't really give a shit about that. And ultimately, I think this is a bullshit thing, right? However, going back to my point, and I'm using this as a way to make Republicans mad, okay? Because that's what I do. The Hunter Biden thing is absolutely a politically motivated charge, right? They went after him 100% politically motivated. They got him, and I don't care that they got him because he did a crime. That's fine. It's the same thing with Trump. Trump's case in New York and all of his cases are in fact politically motivated, and people should stop acting like they're not. They are. That does not exclude you from committing crimes. That's the problem. You know what you don't do? If you're a crimes guy, you're hella into crime, don't run for the top office that has the most exposure to the legal system. So yes, you are correct. It is a politically motivated thing. Well, you put a giant target on your big, dumb orange head. That's what you did. Bill Clinton, they went after him on Whitewater and then him getting a couple of blowies in the White House, right? Again, it's not that he didn't do anything wrong, but it is, in fact, politically motivated. They went after him because he's the president. And it's like, well, can we get this guy the fuck out of here? Did he do a crime? Let's look into the crime. Oh, shit, the Whitewater thing didn't really work out. Oh, shit, he's got a blowjob? Let's go after that, right? It is politically motivated. We need to stop, whether you're on the left, the far left, the fucking right, middle, center, wherever you are. Stop saying these things are not politically motivated. They are. But that does not mean that the crimes did not happen and he shouldn't be prosecuted for them. That is the difference. Don't say it's politically motivated, so just let him go. That's not how the world works. If you get busted for doing a crime, you get busted for doing a crime. So if you're going to be even-handed and say Hunter Biden did this and he should have been convicted for it, I agree with you. But let's also look at your boy. Was it politically motivated? 100%. Is that our fault that you did crimes? Fuck no. It's your fault for doing crimes. Don't do crimes, asshole. That's it.
And the key point is, and you mentioned it in what you're saying there, Hunter Biden's not running for president. Hunter Biden's not running for senator. He's not running for the House. He's not running for dog catcher. Like, Hunter Biden is not in politics.
Right.
So that's why we don't give
alderman.
Right. So that's why we don't give a flying fuck about what Hunter Biden did or didn't do and what will or will not happen to Hunter Biden, because he doesn't have any impact on our daily lives other than as a sideshow distraction that the GOP thinks is a bigger deal than it actually is.
Yeah.
The reason why we rail against Trump is because the dude's running to try to become the president again.
Right. Like, here's the thing. And again, I think it needs to be said, and we need to be honest about this. If Trump had done the hush money, all this hush money shit, but it wasn't like, written off as like a campaign donation type thing, but it was like written off as like a business expense, like just a general fucking Trump org thing, and he wasn't running for president, I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Who cares? Now, if the federal government decides that they want to go after him and prosecute him for a crime because it's some sort of fucking misdemeanor, that's on them. But I'm going to tell you, I don't care. And I'm going to tell you, if we're being honest, most people don't give a shit about that. What? Business crimes happen every day. Okay, like that would be the least of our worries. However, when you decide to step into the world of politics, and especially if you decide to run for president, you have opened yourself up to a massive array of being nailed on potential crimes. That is on you, dude. No one told you to take your fucking trifling ass down that escalator and decide to run for president. You did that. So guess what? When you do that, you put a giant bullseye on yourself. Don't do crimes. And look, you could say, oh, everybody does crimes, whatever. You haven't been able to get anything on Joe Biden. You haven't been able to get anything on Barack Obama. You haven't. You know why? They don't do crimes. It's not that hard. Just don't do crimes. But these guys are like, but we have to, and we should be able to get away with it. No, that's not how it works. So yes, it is politically motivated, and I don't.
And again, it's not a partisan issue. I mean, I caught some of the highlights of the Bob Menendez trial, which just wrapped up testimony.
Go to prison.
That dude needs to go to fucking jail. He literally called up some dude that was paying Bob Menendez a bribe and told a dude point blank, like, stop messing with my constituent. Like, that's something he said to a guy.
Dude, he had gold bars in his house. Look, I don't know a lot about, I'm not a finance guy, but gold bars is like some Indiana Jones villain shit. If you have gold bars in your house and you didn't fight in a war and stole it from Nazis or some shit that belongs to Nazis, by the way, if you didn't do that, you're probably guilty of a crime. I'm just saying, dude. You probably
part of the trial is they actually handed the jury like a couple of the gold bars to pass around to feel, and then like the best part is also one of the prosecutors also took a literal, and I shit you not when I say this, a literal bag of money that had like $100,000 in it that was seized as evidence, and was just literally like pulling wads of cash out of the bag to show the jury like what was inside of it. Like, holy shit, Bob Menendez is guilty as fuck. Get the fuck out of here.
And again, I don't care if Bob Menendez goes to prison. That's fine by me. Good. You did crimes. If you look, and here's the thing, that case is not actually even politically motivated because Democrats also are like, get this guy the fuck out of here, dude. And
he's being prosecuted by the Democratic, Biden administration
in New Jersey, right? Like, so, but even in New Jersey, they were trying to go after him, right? So, like, this idea of policing your own should be what happens,
right?
Does it happen on the right? No. So, look, I got no problem with Hunter Biden getting charged with this stuff. Look, Joe Biden has come out and said, like, he's not going to pardon or commute his son's before the verdict came down. He said he's not going to pardon or commute his sentence. Good. He shouldn't. Right? He's facing like 25 years in jail. That's not going to. You're not going to give him.
He's probably not even going to get sentenced to jail. He's a first-time offender on a minor on a
paperwork charge.
Yeah, right. Like, get the fuck out of here. He's going to get probation.
Right. And look, here's the thing. That's fine. Like, if they gave that dude a year, I would be shocked. I still want you to serve that year. You still got to serve that year.
If they gave him 90 days, I'd be shocked.
Yeah. No, honestly, like, why? Like, you lied on this form and said that you weren't a drug addict. Look, I'm just telling you, like, that's some crackhead shit. Like, that's what crackheads do. Like, what do you want to? Crackheads don't really tell the truth, guys. They do whatever they got to do to get from. They got crack moves to make, right? Like, they do what they got to do. So, like, I'm not mad at it. Like, just like, but get out of here.
A lot of what we just talked about, though, is Jay and I purposely avoided the real story behind the story with the Hunter Biden trials because, of course, this wasn't just a case of fair-handed federal prosecution, or actually unfair-handed federal prosecution, like coming down heavily on the president's son just to not show favoritism. This was actually a master stroke by Joe Biden himself to basically offer up his last living son as a pariah, as a sacrificial lamb of sorts, to make sure that Republicans couldn't nail, as James Comer likes to call him, the big guy on any crimes that he did.
So let me understand this.
Yeah,
Joe Biden sacrificed his only living son for not only to protect himself, but to protect all of us. He took in the Democratic Party's sins so that we could all truly live as voters.
Yeah, because
Joe Biden, God, Hunter Biden, Jesus. I'm just saying, it's right there.
Well, and look, as Joe Biden has never said, if they can go after Hunter Biden for buying a gun while being a drug addict, they can go after you.
Dude, like the level of insanity from like 1 week to the next of like they're coming after me. They could come after you. And meanwhile, Joe Biden is just like, oh, no, just like, I don't care what my son does. Like, he's an adult. I'm proud of him. Like, he got over his addiction. Like, the difference is insane. Like, it's just insane. It's like whiplash. But let's talk about the right's response to this, because it is fucking glorious. So the conspiracy, like you started on, is that Joe Biden, he was like, please crucify my son, and then he'll come up to the White House or whatever the fuck, right? But he throws his son under the bus, lets his son get busted. So then what happens? James Comer can't prosecute?
It makes all the other crimes go away, because it makes Biden look like he's fair and not leaning on the justice system, but in reality, Jay, he's actually putting all the pressure on the justice system, and he forced them to go after his son, so they would look the other way on all the crimes that he has clearly done.
Yeah, this is a very weird conspiracy theory, right? So
it's very stupid conspiracy theory.
Well, all of them are.
Yeah.
Like,
here's the most succinct. Here's the most succinct quote. This is from the smallest faced person in the entire world, Charlie Kirk. The true crimes of the Biden crime family, remain untouched. This is a fake trial trying to make the justice system appear, quote, balanced. Don't fall for it.
But why would they do that, though? But why would they do that?
Jay, these theories don't have to make sense. They just are things you say. You don't actually mean any of them.
That's true. I'm the idiot. What are we doing? Is Joe Biden luring the Republican Party into a false sense of security to then what? Spring the trap on Donald Trump of more convictions that he doesn't control? I'm confused. Why doesn't he just spring the trap without throwing his son under the bus? That doesn't make any sense. You said he controls the DOJ. Then just let him control the DOJ. Why is he fucking pretending for his son? It's stupid.
Well, he's also fooling America, Jay, because of course we see Hunter Biden get tried and convicted, and we say, oh, surely a man who allows the justice system to hold his son to account would let the justice system hold him to account if there was anything to hold him accountable for. So that they're pulling the wool over all of our eyes, Jay. They fooled us all.
But okay, this is all true, obviously. But I thought at the same time, Joe Biden is a mush-brain idiot who can barely walk.
It's true. He should have to take a cognitive test, just like Trump did, which he aced, and then couldn't remember the name of his doctor in the next breath. So. It's hard to hold those two truths in your head simultaneously. But look, Republicans manage to do it every single fucking day. So credit to them, I guess.
Yeah, it's I don't get it. By the way, speaking of Charlie Kirk, did you know previously? Now I knew that he was obviously a grifter and a charlatan and a small-faced buffoon. Did you know that he used to argue for a secular America? Did you know that?
Doesn't surprise me.
All of these guys, man, it's never about their ideology. They don't believe in anything except for money. That's it. All of a sudden, in 2000, in 2018, he was on Dave Rubin's show. Dave Rubin, another fucking... Well, the marketplace of ideas. That guy's a fucking idiot. He says, we do have a separation of church and state, and we should support that. 2018, he said that. 2018. That's not that fucking long ago. Yeah,
and now he's all aboard the Christian nationalist train. Good for him.
None of these guys believe anything. They just move. They just keep moving. Where's the money? Oh, shit. Is it over there? Oh, there's the money over there? I got to go. That's all it is. None of it's real. Meanwhile, people on the left actually believe in the things that they say, and they kind of stick. It's weird how that works. Look, the idea that now Joe Biden is playing 75-degree chess, that is amazing. I love all of this crazy QAnon shit with this. It's incredible. They don't they don't really realize anything that they say. They just blurt it out in the moment, and none of it fucking lines up. It's like watching a fucking toddler put together a puzzle. They're just smashing pieces together. It doesn't matter if they fit. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how they operate.
As a quick aside before we go to the next story, I've always thought that James Comer looks like resembles somebody or something to me. I finally figured out James Comer looks like a Minecraft character. That's what he looks like. square head, completely cube shaped. So,
yeah, no, I hear you on that.
Yeah, I'm glad I got there eventually.
Yeah, wow, he really does have like a blockhead.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, no, it's pretty close to a fucking actual Lego head. Like, yeah, he's right there. He's right there. And those things are hollow, so that makes sense. Okay, next up, Trump returns to the scene of the crime. Trump goes back to Washington. I believe it's his first time. Yeah, first time since January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Democrats were
back to the Capitol even.
Yeah, look, Democrats, none too pleased. Republicans, I'm
sure,
giddy as a motherfucker. They're like, there is high five.
Giddy in person. There were some interesting quotes, of course, that came anonymously. Because of course everyone's too afraid to say anything to people's face. But yeah, Trump came back to the scene of the crime, as many out there said.
Yeah, look, he returned to Capitol Hill to meet with House and Senate Republicans, and they, according to this AP story, they find themselves reinvigorated by his bid to retake the White House. I don't think reinvigorated is the word you really want to use, to your point about the sort of snide remarks behind the scenes. And, of course, that's under the cloud of anonymity because, they're punk bitches about it. Look, I don't think that they believe that this is going to work out. I think, if anything, like the level of giddiness is like, oh, we got a champion, right? Like I think that's real. But I think the serious people in the room realize that this is not going to work. And I think that those folks are happy because they know this is almost over. I think at least they hope that this is almost over. Spoiler alert, it's not almost over at all. Because if and when he loses, it will get worse. He will go fucking crazy, and then all of his supporters will double down on that, right? So
I think what they're hoping is that if he loses, that he just gets bored and just goes away. You know what I mean? He's like, this is too fucking hard. I don't feel like doing this shit anymore. But I mean, he's gonna be a little busy if he loses because then he's gonna have like hella trials to deal with.
Oh, they're gonna light your ass up, homeboy. Look, we just talked about politically motivated. You think if you lose, what do you think's gonna happen then? Holy shit, you're in a world of trouble. You're in a world of trouble because there's going to be additional cases that come. What was it? Arizona just brought up one a week or two ago?
Well, he hasn't been indicted yet. I think he's an unindicted co-conspirator in that case, but that doesn't mean that he can't get indicted later on. The quote that was going around on background in the wake of his soiree at the Capitol was that it was like listening to your drunk uncle talk at Thanksgiving. Is basically what they said about Trump. So I mean, that gives you the kind of idea.
It's accurate, right? We'll talk about sharks later because he's fucking crazy. But look, this idea of the Republican Party not running away from this guy, we've talked about ad nauseum, but it's getting really serious now, right? Like the 34 convictions hang over him in a way that I don't think Republicans realize how much damage it would do. Apparently, independents are just like, peace, homeboy, we're fucking out.
Well, and here's another article I saw today as well. And again, this is polling, so take it with a grain of salt, and it's focused on wherever the polling was. But when this poll was done, they found that 1 in 20 Trump voters are now going to vote for Biden in 2024.
I saw
that doesn't sound like a lot. Like 1 in 20 is 5%. But 5% is enough to swing a close state one way or the other dramatically. Like 5% in the grand scheme of things is not a lot. 5% in the context of a presidential election is enormous.
Well,
so
if 5% in a state is like in a purple state is really, really scary for Trump.
Right.
Super scary for him. Look, in that whole story about the Trump voters, the 1 in 20 voting for Biden, I think it was something like less than that Biden voters voting for Trump, but basically Biden comes out like 2 or 3 percentage points ahead, right? Like he's losing people to Trump, but Trump's losing more people to him. And look, I think, and again, I doubt that the number of independents will be relatively the same as it was in 2020. I think a lot of independents are going to be like, I can't vote for this guy. I can't vote for a guy who's got 34 convictions so far, right? Like I don't think so. And I think they think it's going to hurt them. And I am so happy about the next statement I'm about to say, because I think it's incredibly important, is now you're starting to see even mainstream Democrats start to ring the fucking bell about Project 2025. And like John Kerry came out and said some shit. I'm like, there you go. Push that shit into the mainstream. Trump is like, no, we're not dealing with that. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. You think Trump's got his own policies? No. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the dude that's heading up that the dude that's heading up that initiative is being floated as a chief of staff pick if Trump were to win the election.
So what do you think? So what do you think happens? By the way, the talk is that JD Vance is the dude. By the way, for Veep.
Again, I think that that gets the people that are going to vote for you already excited. I don't think that does anything to really pull anyone else over. I did see. Yeah, I did see. I mean, like Matt Al did a segment on him, and she talked about how he does make certain aspects of Trumpism sound more palatable. Like he delivers it with like a more like appealing or softer message, I guess you could say. But also, he said like the people on the left that he has the most in common with, and that he agrees with the most, are like the people on the far left. And that makes sense to me because those are the people that would absolutely accept like some level of fascism to get their aims met. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're accelerationist nonsense.
Right. So again, like I don't like all like the people that are mostly considered the top three. I think the person that probably would be the most worrisome from my perspective is Byron Donalds, just because I think that he would, he could basically pull in some folks that, you might not be able to get otherwise, but it's not like there's a good pick on that side.
I will say this, and I say this with all seriousness. I hate that guy. Byron Donalds is a fucking asshole. Like he's an asshole.
Did you know? God, not to put anyone's business out there, but do you know that you have 4 degrees of separation from Byron Donalds?
Exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's our homeboy. It's not.
Yeah, I didn't know if you'd been told that story or not.
Yeah, so. That's her best friend. No, I'm just kidding. No, I absolutely. I hate that I'm that close. That close. It's too close.
I mean, look, you put me within 6 degrees of separation from Donald Trump, so you have that.
Oh God, that's true. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm really close. Yeah, my degrees of separation to Donald Trump is fucking way shorter than it ever should be. Holy shit! Are you kidding me? But like, it's weird because in the beginning it was really bad, but now my degrees of connection to Donald Trump is through an avenue that is very good.
Right.
It worked out. But yeah, no. Oh God, it's like 3. I'm like 3 degrees to Trump. It's fucking weird. So yeah, it's think about that, listeners. How many degrees of separation are you from like horrendous people, like Donald Trump or people like that? Or Byron Donalds. So yeah, look, I think that guy sucks. The thing about Byron Donalds that pisses me off, Byron Donalds is not dumb. He's a very smart guy, and he says outlandish shit that makes me mad, and I know what he's saying. I know that he knows what he's saying is bullshit. And that, to me, it's one thing to be dumb. It's one thing to be dumb and ignorant as fuck, and you're just like, I'm just going to say some stupid shit. And it's like, well, that's stupid. You shouldn't say that. It's another thing to be smart and to know what you're saying is incorrect and say it anyway. For clout, for fucking career advancement, all that other shit. Now, look, I hope he picks him. I really do. And I hope those fuckers lose. And I hope it destroys his fucking career. I hope it destroys it. Yeah, I do. Look, where's Mike Pence? Done. Career destroyed. Good. Look, if you're stupid enough to take the position of from the last guy who was almost killed by the supporters of the guy you're supporting, good. Sign on up, buddy. How do you think they're going to black man at Capitol Riot 2 Boogaloo? You think they're going to wait on you? Get the fuck out of here.
I think, but again, this is where Trump's ego, not to get into Veepsteak's speculation, but I think this is where Trump's ego hurts him. I don't think he wants to pick anyone that could even possibly outshine him in any way, shape, or form. So I think he goes with like Doug Burgum, who it will just be quiet and stand over here and give him a lot of money to put towards the campaign and just be a regular fucking dude whose star will never be anywhere comparable to
will
Donald
never
Trump's.
Rise. His star will never rise. Tim Scott works then. Tim Scott works. His star going to rise for what? to where? It's already in the fucking basement. Like, no.
I mean, look again. Tim Scott, by his own admission, years ago, decades ago, aspired to become the vice president one day.
That's the best he could think.
I've never. It's literally the equivalent of like, yeah, like you're working really hard, like you're like a champion swimmer, champion diver, like you want to go to the Olympics one day. You're like, yeah, I cannot fucking wait to go to the Olympics and be a silver medalist. I can't wait to finish second. It's going to be fucking great.
or I can't wait to just hold the towel and dry off the guy who won the gold one. Because that's more Tim Scott's fucking speed.
True.
You did really good, Michael Phelps. Here's a towel. It's warm. I made it. Yeah. No, Tim Scott sucks too. But look, whoever it is, I hope that whoever gets picked, it just destroys their career. And it will, by the way. It will destroy it. Like either you will become vice president and we'll go into a third term and there'll be a civil war, much like the movie, or you'll lose and your career will be destroyed because you connected your star to that shit wagon.
You hitched your wagon, yeah.
Yeah, so good. So, sure, why not?
Good news though, we're starting to finally get some insight to some policies that the potential future Trump administration wants to advance.
Let's fucking go, baby.
It's really good.
It's really good. Now, I am gonna say this before we get into this because he released a new policy, dropped a new one today. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, I don't know that I did either.
So before we get to the tax one, because the tax one is super good, it may have a couple of holes in it. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Before we get to the tax one, he released another tax proposal. His other tax proposal is he is going to eliminate all taxes on tips. Like if you're
I did hear about this.
Your tips will not be taxed. Here's the thing. I actually don't hate that idea. I think it's a very good idea. But I think, much like every one of his other shitty ideas, there is a way to beat him on this, and it's a way super easy. You're Joe Biden, you're Joe Biden's team. You go, damn, we should have come out with that. That's a really good one. Here's how you beat it. I agree with you, Don. The tips shouldn't be taxed. You know what I also think? They should be paid a living wage, and they shouldn't be making this fucking bare minimum fucking $2 an hour shit. They should be paid a living wage, and if people want to tip them, on top of that, that's not taxed. That's how you beat them. Give waitresses and waiters a living wage, and you don't tax their tips. I got no problem with that. That's the actual.
Well, you can't. So I'm glad you added that second part because you can't have the first part without having the second part. Because the downside to not taxing tippable income is that it just gives restaurants and places like that more excuse to just pay them
even
fucking
less.
Nothing and force them to live off of their tips essentially.
Yeah, like that's tax free. Like but otherwise, I'm not paying any taxes. Like that doesn't make any. Yeah. Like it doesn't make any sense. Okay, we'll pay you $0.05 a month. All right, well, fuck me. So yeah, no, I agree. I think the living wage is the way you do that. It's like whatever it is in your state or whatever the federal minimum is. Like what it should be is you have to pay them at least the federal minimum wage, right? Because now they don't have to. They just pay them like $2-3 an hour. It's fucking horseshit. They have to at least make that or their state minimum wage if that's higher, obviously. And they don't have their taxes tipped.
By the way, for those
Seems
who
like an
don't
obvious
realize,
answer. Seems like an obvious answer.
for those that don't know this, and I did not know this until so recently. Like we're like the only country who has like tipping culture.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like Europeans come over here and they're just like, and like when you tell them about like the tip culture in dining out and stuff like that, like they're much like when they hear about our healthcare system, they're like aghast at like how the fuck is that sustainable? Like how the fuck is that possible? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah,
I don't.
Your income is literally based on the grace and temperament of the strangers that are your customers. Doesn't seem like a smart idea to me.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. I was trying to look at what's the salary for an average waiter or waitress here, right? Because they do have tipping culture here, but I don't know if it's they make like a wildly low cost of living pay versus like someone working at another job.
Yeah, the last time I worked in food service, and granted this was 15 years ago at this point, but I mean the wage we paid servers was I think $3.25 an hour.
Just fucking horseshit.
So yeah,
So look, in fairness to Trump, and I will be fair to him, that's a good policy. It looks good on paper, but again, it does incentivize, and you're absolutely correct about that, and it will incentivize them. It's not an if. It is a guarantee. They will pay waiters and waitresses less. They just will.
Yes.
They just will. Like,
but
$3.25? Fuck that. $1.25.
But do we need to worry about taxing tips? Or do we just go to the root of the issue and just fix it on the ground floor?
100%, Brad. And here, according to Donald Trump, is how you fix the tax code. Is that you don't have one. So Donald Trump's idea is that he's going to eliminate U.S. federal income tax. And I know you're thinking, like, if you're a smart person, you're listening to the show, and you go, that is a curious fucking policy. How is the federal government going to pay for things, right? Because we have a tax base, and we use that tax base to buy shit. And by the way, if you're thinking to yourself, I support this idea, like you're seeing this clip and you're like, I support it as a right-wing, red-blooded American man. I support this idea, but I also support giving the Department of War, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The military, if I'm giving the military all this unlimited fucking weaponry, surely I can pay for that out of thin air. But I also don't want to pay taxes. Okay? So his idea here is that he is going to replace the lack of money that we're getting in taxes, because he's eliminating all federal taxes. Not some, not lowering all of them to zero. Mm-hmm. He is going to replace that by cranking up tariffs on imports everywhere. All the tariffs.
Anything that gets imported from overseas or uses components that are imported from overseas gets a tariff slapped on it. Now, I know what you're asking out there. You're like, well, how big of a tariff would you have to put on something?
This is a great
in order
question.
to make up for the loss of the trillions of dollars in federal tax income that the U.S. generates every year. It's a good question. The answer is you would have to impose a 133% tariff on any goods or components that are imported into the country, which of course is going to be paid by the importer and then passed along to the customer. So regardless, at the end of the day, Americans will still be paying for it, except you'll be shocked to know this, Jay. The average lower to middle class American under this proposed plan would end up paying about $5,000 more a year than they're currently paying in federal income taxes, whereas the upper class Americans would save about $1.5 million a year because they don't buy anything.
Right. You just
saving lower middle income Americans do.
Yeah, you're just saving it. You're just saving money.
Can you imagine the new iPhone? What are we up to? 16, 17 when we get to 14, the new one that comes out? 14 maybe. I've got a 14 and mine's like almost 2 years old. I think we're up to 16 or 17. So
wow, I have a 10.
You need to upgrade. But anyway, that's beside the point.
I don't. No, I don't.
Can you imagine a new iPhone costing? And again, I'm not exaggerating. If you're putting 133% tariff, it would literally cost $2,400.
What's the problem? Good luck staying poor. Okay, like what do you want from him? The boneheadedness of this idea is it can't be understood. And it can't be understood. Here's the point about this. Obviously, it's not like he sat down and like fucking thought about this and worked with economists and like figured it out. Like this is something that probably just popped in his dumb head. Yes. And
he just blurted it out. But and normally that wouldn't be a problem. People say stupid things all the time. Not typically a person who, again, has a essentially 50-50 shot at being the next president of this country for the next 4 years. I'm pretty sure being a deeply unserious person should be disqualifying from becoming president, but Republicans apparently disagree.
Look, this plan is that of a madman. Right. This is equivalent to when I did a video on TikTok and I was talking about incarceration rates and how, this is a systemic issue and we need to work at it, blah, blah, blah. And someone responded with the solution is implement communism. That's what this is. This is as stupid as that. Right. It takes no level of thought. You're not really thinking about it. You're just saying words. Who in the fuck wants to go out and pay $2,000+ for an iPhone? By the way, that's the standard now. That's the standard. That wouldn't be, fucking payments and contract. No, that's the standard.
That's
is where it would start.
That's the starting price point. Yeah, if you want a Pro Max, like you're gonna have to pony out a little bit. You're gonna pony out about $3,000 there to get that guy happen. You think cars are expensive now? You do realize that even though the cars are assembled in the good old US of A, most of the parts of cars are manufactured overseas.
That is correct. You think cars are expensive now?
Yeah, because cars are expensive now. And if you think cars are gonna you want to see a fucking mid-size sedan, with a $45,000 sticker price, because you gonna under this tax plan.
Wait, 45,000? 45,000? No, dude, no, it will be more than that. Yeah, no, I again, this is one of those ideas that only a libertarian could love. Like only a libertarian could love this idea. Like
this idea and a 15-year-old girl. Those are the two things that a libertarian could love.
They're like, did you know in the state of yeah, we know. Bro. Like, relax. You guys seem to know all the states. It requires such a lack of understanding of the world. By the way, one of the biggest. Okay? I'll ask this question to you, Brad, and I'll give you exactly one guess, and you'll get it right.
Okay.
What is the number one store in the United States that Americans shop at?
Like a single store?
A single store. Which, like, this is a company, this is their store.
I would assume it's Walmart.
That is correct, right?
Okay.
Again, like, yeah, this is very obvious, right?
Yeah, one in one. Like not
one
not
in one. Nailed it, right? It's Walmart. And you are obviously aware, because you've been in a Walmart, I have as well. Everything in Walmart is imported. Everything on those shelves is imported. Which presidential candidate do you think's constituency shops at Walmart more? And I'm not saying this is like a negative, but for real, which one do you think? The ones in the South and in the Midwest maybe are more likely to shop at Walmart than anywhere else. Why? Because Walmarts are basically like have developed company towns, right? Mm-hmm. In all those areas. So Democrats or Republicans, who is going to have the store they go to the most have 133% increase in every product on the shelf? Whose fault would that be? Is it China's fault? No, it's your dumb fuck president, dude. This is such a bad policy that this should disqualify him by any like normal standard. Like someone, I can't decide between Biden and Trump. Oh, Trump's going to raise the prices of everything at Walmart by 133%. I'm going to go with Joe Biden.
Like this is so bad that if and I hope they do. I hope if he's asked about this during the debate next week by Jake Tapper, and he responds like, yeah, like I think it's a good idea to get rid of federal income tax and raise things by 133%. I literally hope that Jake Tapper verbatim gives him the line for line speech from the debate moderator from Billy Madison.
Yeah, he should,
because that's what he would deserve in that moment.
Yeah, no,
like at no point in that answer that you gave did you come close to anything resembling a coherent thought. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
No, it's like 100% because it's so goddamn dumb. It's so goddamn dumb. Look, I thought that Herman Cain. The
999? Yeah.
I thought 999 was the dumbest. He just took the standard tax code from SimCity and applied it to American politics. I thought that was the dumbest thing from a tax policy that we had heard. But alas, Donald Trump here to fucking blow that shit out of the water. By the way, I do want to correct you. You are absolutely incorrect about something.
Okay.
Quote, if you were to buy an iPhone outright, paying the full cost up front, the average phone is $758, right?
Okay.
However, over a 24-month contract period, which is what most people do, on average you pay $2,736 for the cell phone and the airtime plan. Okay? So that would mean, so you said that an iPhone would cost like $2,400 under Trump's plan. Oh, no. Because if you're actually looking at what the real cost is your like if you take your like the 758, if you did that outright, you come closer to where you're talking about. However, that's not what most people do. Most people already start paying at $2,700 across those 2 years. So it would actually cost you $6,300 for an
No, but that's phone and cell service. I don't know if your math is
okay.
Is
take out the cell service then.
Yeah.
Still, it's what, $4,500, almost $5,000, right? Like that's insane, dude. That's insane. But again, it is a dunderheaded idea.
And by the way, like you want to talk about spurring economy, like the mindset behind this obviously is that you'll spur American production of items and people buy American more and stuff like that because it's not tariff. No, people just stop buying shit. Like instead of buying a new iPhone every 2 to 3 years, I'm buying a new iPhone every 5 years. Guess who's hurting in that scenario? Apple's hurting in that scenario because there's going to be millions and millions of people like me that upgrade their phone every 2 years that would be like, you know what? I'm cool with this iPhone for another 4 to 5 years. Yeah. And then all of a sudden Apple's revenue goes in the toilet and therefore their share price goes in the toilet and then Apple's fucking panicking. And then what's going to happen? Either they're going to start cost cutting like crazy, or they start acting like a shitty company and be like, hey, you know how we sent out updates for phones for like 8 years? We're actually going to cut that down to like 3.
Yep.
So like after 3 years, your phone doesn't get an update anymore.
Oops.
With security features and shit like that, so that you have to buy the new one.
Yeah, so they force you.
So,
right?
Right.
Yeah, this idea that this is going to help anything is, besides rich people, like you said, throwing vast amounts of money into their pockets and ripping money out of the poor person's pockets. This is so fucking dumb. Like, it's so fucking dumb. It's so fucking dumb. It's so dumb that I live in a foreign country and would benefit heavily from this. And even I don't agree with this, right? Like, my import cost doesn't change. It's not getting imported from the U.S. or coming in the U.S. I don't give a shit. But I do pay federal income taxes in the U.S. I also pay state.
Yeah, fuck. Would NAFTA be exempted from that? Like, if we get shit from Mexico, is there going to be tariffs? Like, who knows? Who knows?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Who could say?
But what I do know is, again, I would benefit greatly personally from that, and I think this is a horrendous fucking idea. Yeah. And I would vote against it. I am voting against it. What the fuck? Not would. I am literally voting against it, right? So, like, I'm literally voting against my interests. I'm voting for more taxes.
And by the way, so I wouldn't be surprised.
He's never going to do this. He's never going to do this. It's insane.
Not ever. I don't think any economist worth their salt. Not that he would get an economist worth their salt, whatever allows to happen. But on the back of this story is a story that went out today where I think a deficit watchdog estimated the U.S. debt will grow within the next couple of years to $50 trillion, which is panicking a lot of people.
Cool.
I cannot express, I've said this before on the show, I'm going to fucking say it again, and I'm going to scream it until I'm fucking hoarse in the face, until people finally start to fucking understand, which will be never. The national debt means nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's literally just an accumulation of the amount of money that you run at an income deficit as a country year over year. That's all it is. And you're not actually running in a deficit, because as long as you're paying for the things that you're buying, which you are, because you're getting tax income, GDP is a thing, it doesn't fucking matter. It could be infinity. It doesn't make a fucking difference. Stop talking about the national debt or national surpluses or running at deficits or this or the other thing. As long as we can pay for the shit that we need to pay for, it doesn't make a difference. Because, Jay, who do we owe this debt to? Who do we owe? Who is the creditor that we owe the money to?
Right. It's us. It's so fucking stupid. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't mean anything. But, it's a great thing to just panic about.
We're selling, but we sell some of our debt to China. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a fucking write-off. It's a fucking paper transaction. We sell a little bit of debt to them. We reduce cost on something else to make up the money somewhere else for them. It's a win-win across the board. Like, it doesn't make a fucking difference. It's not like we then owe China, $2 billion or $200 billion that we have to pay them back. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. They're not like put it in my hand. Like, no, that's no, guys. That's just not a thing. It's really not a thing. So, yeah, again, it's panic for fuck all reason. Yeah, go ahead and take this. This is a super fascinating story.
Yeah, so the Biden administration today, as we're recording this, announced that they are going to make it easier for undocumented immigrants who are married to U.S. citizens to apply for legal residency in the United States. So in today's world, and I'm going to get some of this wrong probably, even if you marry an American citizen, if you're an undocumented migrant to the country, you have to jump through like a bunch of bureaucracy shit in order to get it. Weirdly enough, like, to become a U.S. citizen, you would then have to like leave the country for up to 10 years and then apply to be able to return back to the United States to be with your family.
Is it 10 years? I thought you didn't
It's up to 10 years. It's up to 10 years.
Oh, up to 10.
It might not be 10 years, but it's up to 10 years.
Yeah. But like, you cannot start the process until you leave.
Correct. You have to be living abroad in order to even begin that process. Even if you're already married to somebody that's here, which has always been like I said, a bureaucratic hurdle for people to do, which completely fucking understandable. Like, can you imagine?
Well, and not even necessarily a bureaucratic thing. you leave and you're terrified that you'll be separated and never be able to come back. Like,
right, never come back again. So what the Biden administration is doing is they're going to allow spouses of undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens who are undocumented to apply for the residency without having to leave the United States. They can apply from within the country, which is it's stupid that it wasn't that way to begin with. Like I understand like the fucking stigma and all this shit around like green card marriages and this, that, or the other thing. But I mean, it's insane to be like, yeah, like if you want to be a citizen, you have to leave. Like what the fuck? Like that doesn't make sense at all.
Start the process. If it doesn't work for some reason, then you got to go. Like, okay.
Yeah. Again, this is another instance where, even though this doesn't probably affect most of the people that are listening to the show, this is still a really good thing to vote for, because you'll help millions of your fellow Americans. And again, one of the like, there's a Washington Post story that we have linked to talk about this. One of the dudes who was at the signing ceremony today, he came over as a child when his mother came into the country from Sierra Leone, and he's been, grown and raised here basically from childhood. This dude's a local prosecutor now. Like he's contributing to the community, like help, working a good job, like telling this guy to get the fuck out, and like maybe you'll get to come back. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, and not only that, he's never. When did he come over? Like when he was like a small child.
Two decades ago.
Right,
2 decades ago.
Sierra Leone is not his home. Like it's not.
Right.
Hey, good luck, buddy. Like I don't even know where to go there. Like I don't like. Like it's the idea of, oh well, if you're one of these kids, the Dreamers kids, well you just go back to your home country and you figure it out. Like, bro, I was never even a cognizant human being in those countries. The U.S. is their entire personality is the country. It's not fair. It's not fair. By the way, this also does put it does allow sort of an inroad for Dreamers as well. So giving them a little bit potentially a faster track to become citizens. Which, by the way, they should.
How's that not happened yet? Well, I mean, we know why it hasn't happened yet, but
right. But this should be one of those moments where I think both parties has got to be like, I mean, these kids, they didn't do anything.
They're here. It's not like someone just fucking jumping over the border and marrying someone immediately and being like, I'm a citizen now. Like that's not fucking happening.
Right.
Much like the late term pregnancies that they like to fearmonger about with abortion. Like the number of people who are sliding in under the gate and getting things done quick as quick as possible is probably a very, very low percentage of the actual cases. Where like you said,
I bet it's not even 8%. For being honest. And by the way, who's doing that? Who's doing that? Oh, I get birth in a week and a half. Probably just going to go ahead and do the abortion. Well, what the fuck? Just have the kid and then give the kid up for adoption. It doesn't even make any sense. Like that's not a thing. But to talk to conservatives, it's happening all the time. They're just grabbing babies and throwing them in trash cans. Like, okay, like I guess, bro. Like, what the fuck madness is going on in that dumb empty head of yours? So yeah, look, I think this is great. Again, giving protection to those spouses and things like that, I think is just smart. This obviously is. I hate when people say this. This is obviously to help them, shore up the Latin vote, going to the election. Well, yeah, duh. Okay, like of course it is. Of course, but it is also good policy, right? But it's also good policy, and like again, it's like this is politically motivated. But again, they did the crime. Like two things can be true at the same time. Like yes, it's politically motivated, and yes, it's also good policy, and we should have done it a long time ago. So yeah, I don't have any problem with this. And look, I also think it's a bold move, right? Because at the same time, and the article says, it uses the term bold as well, but it's a bold move because you're going into a debate, and Trump can use this to hammer you on. But it is a policy you believe in, and that I think
again,
most human beings agree with. So you can.
Well, that's the thing. When citizenship for Dreamers is polled, again, it's one of those issues where like even most Republican voters are like, yeah, those people should be able to become fair.
They're Americans. Like they are. Like if to be an American is like, oh, I love the country and blah, I've been here my whole life. They're Americans. Like what, they got there 14 minutes after they were born. Who gives a fuck? They're Americans. So yeah, again, like you said, even Republicans are like, all right, what are we arguing here? This is fucking insane. Like, come on. If my Italian grandmother who can't speak English, if she's American, then they can be American too. Like, let's not get silly. So
it's kind of the whole point of the whole experiment. You know what I mean? Like like not being defined by, one ethnic, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. Like it's not consisting of one ethnic group, basically.
Right. Yeah. It's not. It's not
the melting pot, as it were.
Right. It's not an ethno state. Right. Like so. Right. Like. Yeah. Again, if you bring your infant over, and they are completely raised as a cognitive person, they don't know literally anything else. Some of the Dreamers didn't even know they weren't born in America until they went to apply to colleges. They didn't know.
And again, like I need people to understand, like we are like uniquely, like we're like the only one of the very few countries in the world. Like Jay currently, as most people know, is currently living in Mexico. Jay could live in Mexico for the rest of Jay's fucking life. Jay will never be Mexican. You can go to Germany and live in Germany for the rest of your life, but you will never be a German. You'll be an American living in Germany. Yeah. If you fucking come here from whatever country in the world you want to, and you decide to live in America, guess what? You're fucking American.
Yeah, you're American. It is what it is. I mean, that's so true that black people who grew up in the UK, by white standards, they're like, you're not British. That's how fucking like ethno state type of shit it is. They're like, yeah, but you're not, like, you're English, but you're not British. Like, well, fuck off. It's like, I was born here. It's like, sorry, governor. Like, not really. It's like that shit is kind of like inborn in the fabric of that country. But you're right. You can live 10, 15, 20 years in another country, born in Germany or wherever, and you move to America. If you live there for 10, 15 years, you're a fucking American, dude. Like, you just are. You're just an American that sounds funny. That's how Americans look at it. Like, you just sound different. But you're an American, right? You put on your red, white, and blue fucking jumper or whatever during 4th of July, and you cook ribs on the grill. You're a fucking American. Like, this is just how it goes. That's like America has a lot of fucking issues, but a lot. But that idea of like what the idea of the country is a really great one, right? Which is, Americanism isn't about where you come from. It is about where you are, right, in that moment. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, these kids or these spouses of these immigrants and stuff like that, I got no problem with this. Like, these people are just as much Americans as anybody else. So there you go. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.